Welcome everyone to Cooking with Glenn, episode 16, and we're going to do a nice special one today. We are on the eve of St. Patrick's Day, and of course, why not cook up one of the traditional dishes here in America for St. Patrick's Day: corned beef, cabbage, and some roasted potatoes. Now, I picked up a J.P. O'Reilly flat cut corned beef. It's about 2.5 pounds. I've never cooked corned beef before, so this is going to be a little bit of an interesting one. It's going to be a little bit of a fun one. They do say to cook corned beef at a slower temperature so that the meat becomes nice and tender. And they kind of recommend doing like a boiler or like a slow simmer on like a stove top from what I saw online. But I pulled out my electric roaster. We're going to make a roasted corned beef, and the J.P. O'Reilly flat cut corned beef also came with like a little seasoning packet, so that's going to be cool. So let's get this underway. I have the roaster preheated to 250 degrees. They say to cook it for about 2.5 to 3 hours until the meat is nice and tender, or until the internal temperature reaches 160 degrees, because you don't want to eat raw meat. Corned beef isn't for everyone, but I do love myself a nice Reuben, a nice corned beef sandwich, and we're going to put this in the roaster now and then do some of the prep work for everything else, like peeling the potatoes and getting the cabbage nice and ready. So let's get going. So here we are at the roaster. You guys can't really see me, but you know, whatever. Like I said, it's preheated to 250 degrees. I got the corned beef here. Oh, look how just nice and meaty that looks. So we're going to throw it in the roaster. This is a Proctor Silex electric roaster. And let it cook. And then we'll come back, we'll check it out as it's going, just to make sure it's cooking properly. Now there's like a nice little roasting rack on here, so I'm just going to place it in that. I'm usually used to doing this for like a turkey for like Thanksgiving, so just throwing corned beef in here is going to be very, very interesting. And the cleanup's going to be a little rough, but it's going to be worth it. Now we're just going to cover it for now, and we'll check up on it in a little bit. Then in the meantime, what I'm going to do is work on peeling some potatoes. I am using some russet potatoes for this. You could use red potatoes, Yukon gold potatoes, or anything. And you could actually like cook these without the peel on it, but or cook them with the peel on it. But I don't know. I'm just so used to peeling potatoes from my days as a kid, helping out in the kitchen. So I'm going to work on peeling them. I've never used this potato peeler before, so this is the debut of the potato peeler, if you want to call it that. And pretty much, you know, if you've never peeled potatoes, you just kind of take your peeler and try not to make a mess like I do, and just kind of, you know, peel the skin off. It's very easy, very simple, and, you know, it's like a 2-3 minute job. It's not super excessive. This peeler is actually working very nice. And what we're going to do is we could throw the potatoes and the cabbage in the roaster with the corned beef, but I kind of want to cook them separately, only because if, you know, I end up ruining the corned beef, at least I could salvage the potatoes and the cabbage and still semi have a Irish meal, I guess, for dinner. Now, I guess while I do this, let me tell you guys a story. So growing up, you know, I am part Irish. I am Irish, Polish, and Mexican. So growing up, St. Patrick's Day has always kind of been a fun time in my family. But no one really in my house growing up was a big fan of corned beef, me included. So, you know, we used to make the corned beef brisket at St. Patrick's Day, or what my dad would always do towards the later years, because no one would eat like the actual brisket, is we would just make it and kind of just slice it really thin and kind of make Reuben sandwiches out of it. Now, as I've gotten older, I've kind of gained a little bit more of an appreciation for corned beef and its flavor, because I do love a good Reuben. And oddly enough, I'm a big fan of pastrami, and I did learn that corned beef and pastrami are actually like the same cut of meat. It's just how it's prepared is different. And I'm a big fan of brisket, and I don't know if this is the same cut as like a traditional brisket, but you know, it's good meat. Corned beef also is a good source of protein, iron, and I believe vitamin B12. Interestingly enough, but I think a lot of beef has vitamin B12 in it. So, you know, without giving you guys the nutritional lesson, I'm going to finish peeling these potatoes, clean up the skin as it's going everywhere, and then we're going to check up on the brisket in a little bit, throw the seasoning on, and this is going to be a little bit of a longer preparation because that does have to cook for about 2.5 hours. And, you know, it's hopefully going to turn out really good. As I mentioned, we're going to boil the potatoes and the cabbage, and, you know, together they are probably going to be okay to boil together. I'm not too concerned about like any type of like cross-contamination. It might give it a little bit of a weird flavor, actually, thinking about it, because potatoes are starchy, cabbage is like a leaf. So we got most of the skin off of these. And then we're gonna, you know, I'm hoping to cube these as well, in the sense of, you know, little, you know, roasted looking potatoes. So I will, you know, catch up with you guys as the process continues. What's up, guys? We are back, and I went ahead and I put the seasoning on the corned beef just because, you know, it looks like it's almost done. So what we're gonna do now also is work on boiling the potatoes and the cabbage. Now, as I readjust this for you here, cabbage and potatoes don't really take that long to cook. So in this pot, I'm going to put the potatoes, and this one I'm going to put the cabbage. Now, I'm going to readjust this as well. We're going to start with doing the cabbage just because it's kind of like leaves. So just kind of putting it in will be nice and easy. And like I said, it doesn't really take that long to cook. We just kind of need to like bring it to like a boil. I don't know if I'm going to do all of the cabbage, just for the sheer fact that it's just me. But cabbage is very much like lettuce, except one, it's cheaper in price, and two, I think it's not really super nutritious as compared to lettuce. But you know, I do like some nice boiled cabbage. It also goes very well in like stews and soups. So we're going to put just kind of enough in there. And we're just going to kind of let it cook, let it warm up. Cabbage you have to let cook. Because I feel like it just, one, wouldn't taste all that great. Otherwise, and you know, I have my potatoes here. You guys, you know, remember I peeled them not too long ago, and we're just gonna nicely drop them into the water. And now I can also kind of finally clean up these potato skins. So we're gonna let this all finish cooking, let this boil, and then, you know, go from there. Alright, as you guys can see, the cabbage is basically done cooking. The potatoes, they're boiling, but I'm going to work on letting those cook a little bit more. And, you know, I'm going to start pulling the cabbage out, putting that on a plate, getting this all ready. And let's take a look at the corned beef one last time. I think this is going to be done very, very shortly. So, yeah. Alright, so as it seems, it looks like these potatoes are done cooking finally. So we're going to work on cutting them. I've never made like any type of diced potato before, so this is probably going to come out looking like disgusting. But the potatoes are actually like nice and soft, so they might seem kind of like mashed. So I'm going to use the one knife kind of as like an anchor. I am not that good at cutting these, but we're gonna, you know, get some nice like potato chunks going. I mean, they're kind of big chunks I'm accidentally making, so we're gonna try to make these smaller. You know, it's funny because I've never actually done anything with potatoes minus like baking them. So, you know, we do have some nice chunks here. And I'm using this, let's cut it straight down the middle. Let's see how that goes. I'm using this plate here as like my cutting plate. I do have my cabbage on a red plate that's next to me. But yeah, this meal is coming together nice. Potatoes are definitely like super soft, which is good. But you know, it's fine if they're like big, because when I'm eating, I'll probably cut them down anyway. I wonder if this is like the proper technique, if there is another way to make a diced potato properly, because I doubt this is how it's supposed to be. But yeah, so we cut the potatoes all nice up. They're definitely thick AF. But I'm going to start maneuvering everything to the other plate, and I will come back when it's time to cut the corned beef. Alright guys, I am back, and I have the corned beef out of the slow roaster. It looks like it's nice and cooked, so we're going to work on cutting this a little bit just to see you know, how it looks on the inside. I did cut a little piece here just to make sure it was done, and I have this thing. I don't know what this is officially called. This is my meat poker though. It seems like this is nice and tender. Corned beef is also something that you don't really have to worry if it still looks a little bit red. As long as it reaches the internal temperature, it is completely okay. This actually looks like it's going to be perfectly fine. It is a little tough. Sometimes corned beef, well, I don't think it's tough to cut through. I think it's my knife and like hitting the fat at the top, but you guys can see this is like perfectly cut through. It does look fully cooked. It kind of looks delicious as we speak. So we're going to continue to cut all of this, and you know, then I'll plate everything fully up and make sure it's all cooked and do a little taste testing. I do like how this is cutting now. It wasn't really cutting super cool in the beginning, but now it's kind of going straight through, and it looks like it's fully cooked perfectly. Oh wow, roasted corned beef. Who would have thought? I'm wondering also too, like how it's going to taste with the seasonings on it. I'm obviously gonna save a lot of this too. Like this isn't gonna all be eaten today because tomorrow is St. Patrick's Day, and reheating it shouldn't be too big of an issue if done correctly. So guys, with that being said, you know, let me finish cutting this and then we'll go into the taste testing once this is all set up. I did also dress up the potatoes with some butter and some pepper. So yeah, this looks like it's gonna be delicious. Alright guys, now is time for the moment of truth to know how well this came out and how well my first attempt at corned beef, potatoes, and cabbage is. As you guys can see, I did plate everything up nicely. I mentioned the potato with the pepper and the butter now. So we're gonna kind of go around town. The first thing we'll start with is the cabbage to make sure that that came out nice. Cabbage is kind of, I think, really hard to mess up, but it's nice and tender and very chewy. Not chewy, but like perfectly dense. My knife for some reason doesn't want to cut through it. Well, cabbage came out perfectly fine. Let's go with some potatoes. I'm wondering how these potatoes are going to come out because they were kind of semi-soft as I was cutting them, if you noticed. So let's see. They definitely have maintained their potato consistency. And now, the moment of truth is the corned beef. Now I'm going to cut this piece up a little bit. There definitely is a lot of fat on this corned beef on the top. So I'm going to try to cut the fat off like I'm trying to do with my body itself. So let's take a nice piece. It's nice and tender. It's not too rough. So let's see. There's a nice flavor to it. It is nicely cooked. I like the flavor that it's giving off. The seasonings on the top definitely worked out to its benefit, and I'm happy this isn't raw. So let's take a nice big bite. Overall, this came out really, really good. The meat might actually be a little overcooked because it is kind of chewy, and corned beef should kind of just like, I don't want to say fall apart, but it should be, I don't want to say softer either, but it should be nice and like easy to bite through. This kind of has a little bit of like a pork chop consistency, but overall it's really good. Why I just grab a piece of the fat? Anyway, that was weird. But yeah, guys, thank you for watching Cooking with Glenn, episode 16. Corned beef, cabbage, and potatoes definitely turned out to be a success, and it's really good. I think I'm gonna make this my personal St. Patrick's Day dinner every year now that I know how to cook it, and I just kind of winged it the whole time. So leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. What are your St. Patrick's Day traditions? Do you like corned beef and cabbage? As always, thank you for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. Stay happy, stay healthy. I'll see you guys. Have a good one. Bye.